to that. And it really has everything to do with what I was saying earlier about legacy, if you will. Because, as you know, there's a tradition here of putting out good artists. I mean, there's a long list of people who have worked here that are credible, competent, and skilled and talented, and have a drive to impart themselves in this business, but leave something that wasn't there when they got into it. And to me, that's very important. You know, especially now in the TV age of tattooing, where you know, everybody wants to tattoo now, and people are
put on some hipster clothes.
Exactly.
And
Exactly. You know, and it's just really out of hand. I mean, and so there has to be some sort of conduit for capable people and artists, and especially capable artists of color. Because honestly, I honestly feel as though if we don't provide a conduit for these young artists, there won't be one. You know, because we know pretty much that, you know, in order for us to have opportunities, we have to provide opportunities. Now, thankfully, Julie was of the mindset to do that, and there are plenty of people like her that obviously do that. But I think it's really our responsibility as older tattoo artists and people who own businesses and that have been doing this for 10, 15 years plus, to also give that back, because it's a process of giving it back. You know, not just taking from it and you know, taking from it what you will and leaving it to die on the vine. It's about giving back, and that's how you give back. You take the knowledge and your experience that you built up over the years, and you give it back to someone that is actually looking at you and watching everything you do, and you impart upon them the same values that you have, and that's how you build something generationally.
That's right.
And that's really what it's all about.
Awesome. So if somebody wants to come in here and ask you for an apprenticeship or a job, what are some of the things you look for?
I look for, obviously, talent, but it's more than that. Just talent won't get you a job. Not with me.
And to prove talent, they have to have a portfolio or something to look at.
Absolutely. Presentation is everything, and it's how you present yourself. And it's really about how mindful you are about what you are marketing. Because everything that you show someone is very personal. It's a piece of yourself. So you're basically pulling out your dirty laundry in a sense and showing it to somebody and saying, hey, what do you think? Yeah. First of all, it's a very brave thing to do. But how you package and present that is very, very, very important. So that's one of the most important things, is how much do you care about yourself that you're going to open yourself up and let somebody else see it, and how are you going to package that? How are you going to clothe it, and how are you going to present it? So I look for those things, not to give too much away, because I don't want to give you my formula. Because then people will come in here and
they're playing the game.
Right.
They know the gameplay already.
Exactly. But no, it's very much about talent is a big part of it, obviously, but also how you present yourself, and then two, you have to have a level of trustworthiness too. That's very important. And you know, usually people who are attention whores aren't very trustworthy. Yeah, that's just my experience. You know, if you need other people to validate your existence, you know, and you go out of your way for that, it's usually not a good sign. Yeah. As to how comfortable you are as an individual. So these are just little cues that I look for about, you know how some people walk in and they just pop the door open and leave it open and comes to, like, yeah, I'm here. So when are you going to put me to work? Yeah. Have a nice day. So, and then two, that also says something about your readiness to learn. Because obviously, if you think you know everything, I can't teach you anything. You know, I've been doing this for 19 years and I don't know everything. And even as I work with these guys here, I learn something every day. And I'm well aware that I don't know everything. And it's when you have to keep that hunger. You know, you have to keep that idea that you can always refine. So the person that thinks they know everything and have it down packed, no matter how wonderful their work looks, obviously I can't teach you anything.
Right. You know? Right. Well, that's so Red has two sides. It has the business side that he runs, owns, operates West End Tattoo.
Right.
And then the artistic side. You obviously do art on your own. Do you like to paint? Do you like to draw?
Yeah, painting is. I don't consider myself a painter. I do push stuff around with paintbrushes, but again, I'm learning to paint, and I'm learning to paint through the process of doing it.
What are some of your things that you painted? Some of the subjects, themes.
My themes are usually tattoo related. I
Like
basically, roses and crosses and
crowns.
And odd things, but done in a tattoo style, which is usually bold lines and pretty simple color gradients. It's pretty straightforward. It's definitely more of a traditional approach, and everything is the conduit for all of it is through tattooing. So I learned how to tattoo before I learned how to paint, or I'm learning how to paint. So I'm using what I've learned tattooing and learning how to paint. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just using the conduit and just pushing and progressing through what I already know, and just trying to push other mediums. Exactly.
Yeah. And what made you want to paint? Like, did you have an idea of why, or what you want to say with your paintings?
No, it's just a matter of refinement, and coming to the realization that in order for me to push the boundaries of what I already know, I have to apply it in different ways. It's the realization that the more variations you learn on how to do something, the more refined your process is, and taking these experiences and just kind of condensing them into something that is just going to help my tattooing be better and look better.
Got it.
Yeah.
So what are tattooing? What are some of the things you like to tattoo? That when a customer asks you for, you just ready to jump on it.
As odd as it sounds, I really get into any tattoo that's science based.
Human science or alien science? Science fiction.
Human science.
Like what?
Well, I did I've done a few pieces that represent like molecular structures, like serotonin. I've done that a few times in different places, because serotonin is a chemical release in the brain that you feel pleasure. Exactly. So putting those in dramatic places is always snicker worthy.
Yeah, in dramatic places of the body that do not cause serotonin at that moment.
They could.
To the right person.
Exactly. Which is the point. But sacred geometry is always fun to tattoo. I've done a few DNA style tattoos on some friends of mine. Another friend of mine has a tattoo of a spinning basketball on the tip of a finger with some motion vectors around it. So it's basically traditional tattoo style with physics related imagery.
Okay.
So, and to kind of explain what's going on in the tattoo itself. If I can get that element into it too, it's extra snicker worthy. But yeah, anything science or physics based. Just because I'm in my private time, as far as my personal interests, I'm into science and physics and astronomy and things.
You like to read a lot?
I do like to read a lot. Yes.
Yeah?
Yes, absolutely. I like to learn as much about as many different things as I can, but usually having to do with the natural world and how it works. Just all trying to gain a better understanding, because in my mind, it all helps me to be a better artist, because art and physics are hand in hand. Function and form are very, very connected. So the more you understand about how something works will help you understand why something looks the way it looks. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
So that level of understanding, again, it all comes back to being able to produce art. It's all hand in hand. It's all tied up.
Okay. So if you weren't a tattoo artist, would you have been a physicist?
I'd like to think so, but probably not.
Sit in the lab.
No, it's not. I don't consider myself a scientist. I consider myself a scientific enthusiast. I'm someone who's scientifically literate. I try to get my mind around large and deep concepts. Again, just to understand the physical world. Because, like I said, if you understand why something looks the way it does through its function, it just gives you a better understanding, of that thing.
Yeah.
Like, for example, I believe it was Schrodinger, who's a famous physician, who said that it may have been Richard Feynman, I'm not sure, but he said that a normal person looks at a rose and sees a beautiful rose. A scientist looks at a rose and sees a beautiful rose, but also sees cell structure and DNA and what happens to photons to make that rose red, biological processes that allowed that rose to evolve, understanding that there was once a time on this planet when there was no such thing as flowers and the purpose that flowers serve. Or do they serve any purpose?
Right.
So all these things get broken down when you have a better understanding of something that's just a beautiful rose. And with that understanding, you can present that rose in an artistic way in ways that other people might not even consider because you understand it.
Okay. An artist may see a rose and want to crush it so he can have his red colors to paint on something.
Right. Or fixate on maybe how it folds up and the structure of it. Yeah. But that's it. That's as far as it goes. And be able to render a beautiful rose, don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong at all. And just be just as able to render a beautiful, drop-dead, gorgeous rose. Right. But to me, as far as my outlook is, there's, with a larger understanding of how it came to be, it's just a breadth of knowledge and understanding that I appreciate.
Got it. That's cool. What do you think about architecture these days?
Love it. Still love it.
Do you walk around Atlanta looking at buildings? I
do all the time. Every time I look at a building, I break it down in its form and function. I try to glean from it what the person that designed it was trying to achieve when they saw it in their minds for the first time and went through the process of fleshing it out on paper.
Do you own a T-square and big sheets of paper to draw on?
I do. But only for art.
Only for art? No buildings?
It's all art.
No straight lines?
No, but I was blessed enough through the process of being self-employed to build my own home. Yeah. So, and it's definitely an architectural statement. So I was able to build something that I wanted to build.
Yeah, yeah.
And do it in a way that's quite different from the neighborhood that it's in.
Right. Yeah.
But thankfully, through the process of being self-employed.
So what do you say to the younger artists who are looking at your career saying, I want to be like Red? What advice do you have?
I would say they don't want these stress troubles in their lives, so
don't do it.
Yeah, don't do it.
Go get a job.
Yeah, you will lose lots and lots of hair and brain cells. But I would say to any young artist now that it's pretty much wide open, because I remember I've been doing this long enough to remember when most tattoo shops used to be owned by bikers.
Yeah.
But now there's been a conversion. There's been a change. Now most people who own tattoo shops and that do tattoos are painters.
Artists and stuff.
Painters, fine artists. People with master's degrees in illustration and painting. People with master's degrees in graphic design, and people. So it's changed a lot from when you and I first got into this. And I think that as a young person getting into this, you definitely have to recognize that, and your game has to be on that level. Like, you can't just come into this anymore with
some simple drawings, simple panther.
You have to go above and beyond what it used to take to be able to do tattoos back in the day. If you don't believe me, just go pull out your tattoo magazine from 93, 94 and look at the work